Yo, what's going on, people? Killer Bee, game number 2, Lyx v the Viper. This time we are on migration. You can see that big central chunk of land. That's where the two players will be migrating to. They will be starting out on their own little miniature islands on this side. Ooh, that's not a good sign at all. All right, well, we'll restart. Not what we want. All right. All right, guys, it's Killer B. Thanks for being here. Game number 2, Lyx v the Viper 1v1. They just played a game on Arabia. If you missed game 1, check that out first because there might be some spoilers here in game number 2. Look at this, grabbing a little stone here is Lyx as he searches around his island, kind of desperately looking for some sheep. Sheep are kind of in a weird place. But let's not worry too much about sheep. Let's worry about the map. So the map is migration. You start off on a small little island. Both players here choosing Vikings, I would assume. That is a really good civ for water maps because you get minus 20% cost on your ships. You also get the longboats, which we don't see all that much. And team bonus docks 25% cheaper. So it's a really great water civ. So that's what these guys have probably chosen here. I doubt they got it randomly. Nonetheless, Lyx will be on a little island here with a very puny, thin wood line surrounding the water's edge. Stone's pretty safe, gold's pretty safe. This is a little bit of a long distance for any pressure from the water early on. Fish are really important in water maps. You know, you want a good concentration of fish. You don't want to build your dock over here where there's no good fishing to be had. In fact, Lyx's map doesn't really have that much great fish. The best spot is right here in the middle, and I hope that he finds that spot, and I hope he finds this spot as well. Yeah, so for now, we'll just watch these players get their build going in the Dark Age. Got to get your wood eco going, got to get your docks up and get those fishing ships out. The Viper will be on the other side. He will be playing in yellow. Like I said, there'll be some spoilers from game 1, so if you haven't seen it already, check that out. Before I spoil the result for you, Viper in yellow probably had a little better start than Lyx. You can see he's a villager ahead. And I think that that is due to Lyx being unable to find his sheep and having to loom up rather early. The Viper's map here is nothing to really write home about. This stone could possibly be pressured from the water. Gold is very safe. Has some kind of puny, ugly patches of wood. You can check this wood line. That's not going to last long. But hey, that's the point of the map. You got to migrate off. Both players will have deer on their island. They will push deer. A couple of short fish as well to work with. Viper's map has much better fishing. Oh, baby. This back corner has much, much better fishing. And you know what's interesting? He's putting his dock up there. He can't really see what we see, but man, if he could, he'd be very happy with that dock location. Those boats won't have to travel far, and they'll find many, many pockets of fresh fish. Gotta love it. I think when the Viper notices that, he might add in an extra fishing ship or two, but we'll see. We'll see what his build order looks like as we move through this game. Okay, the central island is obviously incredibly important in migration. If you don't knock your opponent out in the first, 20, 25 minutes of game time, you will have to migrate to the central island and find something on that island to win with, fight for territory, etc. There's nothing on this island, though. I mean, there's a stone pile here on the bottom. Look at the mini-map. There is a stone pile in the top corner. There's a stone pile in the bottom corner. I guess there's a little gold over here right on the water's edge, but for the most part, it is pretty barren in the center. Players are going to have to scout it really, really nicely. One way you can do that is to use one of your early galleys. They'll be building galleys in the feudal age to find a sheep. If you find this sheep, if he's close enough to shore to get converted to your team, you got to walk them all around the map, and that's really the best way to understand what's going on that central island. You don't want to land in the wrong spot. You know, if you're on the Viper side, you might want to try to land and get that gold pile. But if you land here, like, what in the world are you going to do with this island? You're going to do nothing, and you're going to lose. So you got a sheep scout. Anyway, I'm beating a dead horse, aren't I? Okay, it's going to be 4 fishing ships for the Viper. I think that's an interesting and good decision. He has really, really fertile waters up on the top to be fishing. Looks like for now the blue player will be on 2 fishing ships. Well, soon to be on 2 fishing ships. He'll have 2 docks. Both of these guys will be working for the weekend. They'll be working for the feudal age here. Thinking about the perfect build, Lyx is loomed up, so it's not as though he's behind where he should be. You know, he and Viper, Viper looming up as well. Never mind, but he's about a half a vil behind the Viper. We saw that in game number 1. Just a little bit of a rocky start for the blue player trying to find those sheep. The map is big enough such that he should be able to build some galleys and defend himself. It's not as though the Viper beating him to feudal by 20 seconds is going to allow those ships to travel across the whole map. But certainly Lyx here needs to get on the ball, get in gear. He's going to build more fishing ships on both sides. Right now he is on 4, or rather he's on 3, but he's got 2 more on the way. Viper seems to be on 1 dock, but he's been building fishing ships longer. That dock has been up since the beginning. 2nd dock on the way here for the yellow player Viper. I think he'll be clicking up once he has the food. It's going to take a little bit of time, but still pushing in deer and grabbing up that free meat. You can see he did not build a mill. That means he can't build farms. That's obviously going to save him a lot of wood. Use that natural food. Once he has enough fishing ships, the Viper here will really not have to worry too much about farms. If he can keep 6 or 7, it looks like he might have 7 or 8 fishing ships, really shouldn't have to worry that much about farming for food. Anyway, once Viper can click up to the feudal age, he'll want to transition villas over to gold, and we'll watch him do that. We'll see exactly how it's done. But it's looking like it's going to be a very quick feudal age for both players. The dark age here has lasted a while, 25 vills for the Viper, soon to be 25 for Lyx. And for now, they are going to be booming pretty intensely. Neither player really having food anywhere close to what they would need to click up. Lyx having to drop a lumber camp here in the back. Look at this puny wood line. Bummer. Bummer, bro. Anyway, looks like the blue player has been able to find a sheep on that central island. He's going to use 1 fishing ship as a scout, and that will actually let him convert many of the shoreline sheep. That is not a terribly uncommon tactic. Once you control those sheep, your opponent can't control them, and you get to know what's on that central island. So we'll move our way through this one. Lyx is starting to pile up the food, about 350 in the bank. He and Viper very, very close, neck and neck, 27 villagers each, but the Viper's 13 fishing ships here is a pretty major advantage. The Viper's waters are much more fertile, and I think it makes more sense for him to build that many fishing ships. Lyx here is going to fish these waters out in not that long of a time. You know, 5 minutes of game time or so, maybe a little more, and he'll be fished out. You can see he's already fished out the easy pickings on this side, and those ships are having to go further and further. Anyway, Viper clicking up to feudal. Let's see if he's continuing to produce fishing ships. Looks like he is going to build 1 more in the corner, and that might be it for now. Pretty greedy fish boom from the Viper. He have 17 fishing ships on the map, but his opponent is not in a position to punish him. So I think Viper is going to be fine. 6 fills moving over to gold should allow for some galley production here in just a moment. This woodline's really rough. Viper has to hold the water or he's going to lose that woodline pretty darn fast. Anyway, we're moving our way through this one. Thanks for joining me. I'm Killer B. You probably know that by now. We're halfway through the video. It'd be kind of disappointing if you were like, oh, really? I thought this was T90. Nope. It's me. It's Killer B. Thanks for being here. Good to see people checking out the videos. Appreciate it. Anyway, this is game 2. Like I said, game 1 was really interesting. I gave you enough spoiler alerts. I can tell you some of what happened there. The Viper was a little bit faster getting into feudal, as he is in this game as well. Lyx was just a little bit slow starting off that previous game. Lyx had a nice tower, a bit of tower aggression, but and the Viper just couldn't parry it. Lyx ends up getting the win on a really, really smooth game. Here in game number 2, Viper will try to take a win back by getting to feudal first and producing galleys, question mark? No, he's not going to produce any galleys. He's got the food, he's going to have the buildings, and he's going to click up. That is an interesting play. Well, migration is a big map. You know, pumping out a bunch of galleys and sending them all the way across the map. apparently is not going to be the strategy we see this time. Hey, that's cool. I like it. I like a little variability. Fast castle build here for the Viper, and why not when you have 20 fishing ships on the map? Not only 20 fishing ships, but 20 fishing ships that are in really fertile waters. These ones in the back starting to chew through the end of that, but Viper can just transition them over to this dock. Anyway, you can see galley production coming from multiple of those docks from the Viper. Lyx on the other side is going to produce a galley or two, but looks like about 2 for now, but not much more. He's got 5 military units, but he's not in full-blown galley production. He's focusing on getting that food. He's going to have a market very soon, and he will click up as well. He's going to be quite a ways, though, behind the yellow player. Anyway, we're working our way through this one still. Neither player has decided to try to do too much as far as the central island goes. Lyx has done some scouting there with some sheep. Viper hasn't found any sheep. Lyx was early enough to grab all of the shoreline adjacent sheep, and now he knows a lot about that island, but he still doesn't really know where any good resources are. Maybe he found this stone pile. Lyx is still searching around on that rather barren island. Viper on his side will have +1 on his galleys. He's ready to do some damage. Lyx doesn't have it yet, but it is on the way. Total numbers are pretty close. 7 military for Viper, 8 military for Lyx. These two navies are about to square off. Lyx is here forward first. He actually might have found a little bit of damage on that wood line had he pursued a little further along the island. But nonetheless, he's going to stop and take a fight. His second little group of ships needs to get here in time so that he can take this. But for now, mostly just posturing between the two players. Viper's getting in some really good damage on those galleys. And he will soon have War Galley and Bonkin Arrow. Very, very fast castle for the Viper. Of course, the Vikings getting wheelbarrow and handcart for free will allow the economies to really take off. You know, obviously both players are Vikings. Both players will have really great ecos. And we'll have to see who can outproduce the other. Major advantage, though, to the Viper, who is going to have War Galleys with +2 damage on them, chasing Lyx across the map for now. Viper's got more galleys circling around the other side. He actually seems maybe a little more invested in that side. He's landed the middle. He's gone University Monastery in the center there, which is rather interesting. Why not? Why not put a university on the central island? Gold eco still coming in for the Viper. I would assume full galley production from all of these docks. For now, he will be 3 military behind Lyx, but obviously out-teching his opponent by quite a lot. Lyx here he's got the bigger navy, but he is certainly going to be out-teched. I mean, he's got 2 less damage than his opponent and 2 less range. 1 less range. Anyway, for the moment, these guys are scouting around. I don't anticipate a big fight here. Then again, Viper's going to stand and fight. Lyx is going to get War Galley and is going to tear through this navy really fast. The Viper just nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. He's going to lose 4 ships there for free. Ballistics coming in at essentially the same time for both players. And all of a sudden, you got to be feeling a little bit good about Lyx's military. Got 4 boats there for free. Viper going to sneak around the backside with a few more boats. For the most part, the galley production just seems to be a little bit lacking for the Viper. He's got galleys coming out of all of these docks. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 docks, I would assume. This dock has to go, the ships have to go a long way to reinforce, but yeah, I don't know why he's falling behind. Yeah, 18 to 21 now, getting closer. Anyway, for the moment, Lyx will roll in here, or sail in here, with quite a large navy. Equal upgrades, both players on War Galley. Lyx will grab careening, must be thinking about transporting some villagers over rather soon. The Viper at the moment is doing what? Grabbing relics. Grabbing relics for the moment. Okay, big fight in the center. Seems like Lyx has the numbers, but Viper is standing to fight, which seems rather strange to me. Maybe he's got some boats hidden under there that I can't see. I'm going to try to send the fishing ships as runners here to soak up a little bit of arrow fire. Most of the fish are chewed up, so the Viper might as well try to sacrifice those fishing ships. But man, this is not going great for him. Lyx here is going to... I would think win this fight. Lix did focus down all of the fishing ships. That did give Viper quite a bit of time to lay down damage on his opponent. Lix will reinforce with a few more ships, as will the Viper. Viper on the way to Imperial Age, and he is raiding Lix's fishing eco back at Lix's base. How about that? Sacrificing the few for the good of the many. Those fishing ships did not know why their commander sent them to their deaths, but kamikaze fishing boats seems to work. Another dock up here for the Viper will allow him to fish these waters and also reinforce that side of the map more quickly. Eventually, Lix will leave that fight. He's going to leave it on 17 total Navy. He's going to be behind the Viper by a few ships. But for now, these guys are not really delivering body blows to each other. They're trading a few ships here and there, and mostly not doing a whole lot of damage to each other's economies. At the moment, the yellow player Viper has 1 TC on his main island. You probably don't want to TC the main island too many times because there is not that much resource to be had. No TCs on the center island, though. Lix on the other side will have a 1 TC build as well. Both guys going all into docks. A dock can be a little bit like a TC if there are fishing ships. That's similar to a villager grabbing food. So, these guys certainly are producing quite a lot of resource. But at the moment, Imperial Age looming for the Viper. Lix is nowhere close to clicking up. This is actually really worrisome for Lix. 25 military for the Viper, but he's going to hit Imp. He's going to upgrade, and he is going to... he's going to have a really, really fun time raiding Lix, I would think. I'm actually very surprised that he hasn't pushed out from this strait yet. Looks like he is going to start sailing south, moving around the bottom part of the map, and heading toward Lix's docks. Imperial Age in 3, 2, 1. 1.25. Okay, there we go. Viper hits Imp. He will click the upgrades if he has the resource. Oh, no, he doesn't. 350 or so. Yep, Galleon on the way. Bracer on the way. He's going to have some really beefy ships on his hands. Also, chemistry. This is going to be really tough for Lix. Lix is trying to sail in here before the Viper gets his upgrade. And you know what? The Viper's going to take this fight, which is really interesting. Lix here definitely has the numbers. How many ships can he sink before the Galleon upgrade comes in? It's actually really important that Lix gets in as much damage as he can right now. Viper will sail away from that fight. Lost a few ships unnecessarily. But he will probably get his tech upgrade soon. And I would think he would hold off pretty nicely. Viper on the top with a small army. Lix does not have what it takes to hold that back, but that's not a very big group. The main group is here in the center. Lix has these Galleons. He's got him surrounded, but even though his numbers are superior, he's out-teched. Galleons, 11 damage, 10 range, 165 health. Just a little bit too much for the 9 damage war galleys. Lix is going to lose really effectively his entire navy, and the Viper will get the win. So Lix will GG out of game number 2 here pretty early. We talked about sometimes in migration, if you win the water early, you win the game. The central island here wasn't that sexy of an island, and neither player invested much into trying to win that central island. The water was where it was decisive. Lix was not ready to go up to Imp, not really even close, and lost his entire navy. Tough game. He had 30 there at the end. He had 30 total ships. Where are his 30 ships? Oh, they're just coming one by one all the way around the map. So there you go, the Viper with a little bit more experience on water maps, able to win game number 2 here and even the series 1-1. And yeah, let's go on to game number 3.